Hello, I'm Don Stanek, and welcome to the ASP Agent Studio, where we showcase talented real estate professionals from across the country who share their accomplishments, their stories, and even their secrets. At Agent Smarty Pants, we firmly believe that no one truly succeeds in this business by themselves. Our hope with the series is to both teach and encourage others as they walk out their professional journeys. Let's get started. Today in studio, we've got Cheryl Lynch. Cheryl Lynch has a team office in Dana Point, California. She's an active top producer. She's a team leader, a business owner, a mentor, a coach, and really a legitimate thought leader in her market. Cheryl, thank you so much for participating and taking some time to be in the agent studio today.
Hey, Don, it's my absolute pleasure. And I know we're going to have a lot of fun today, so I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, that's good because I'm so serious. Sometimes I get a headache, so I don't want that to happen. So you have, look, you've filled like many, many roles in this industry, and some are just really dear to my heart. But do me a favor, let's get in the DeLorean and drive back in time and just kind of walk me through how this whole real estate thing began for you. And then, how did you end up where you are today? And then we'll kind of go from there. What do you say?
Perfect. I love that. So how did I get into real estate? Well, everybody thinks that real estate is a business where you could just basically, own your own business, have your own schedule, and life is great. And well, guess what? I wanted to have a child. So my husband and I were like, oh, okay, you were in a corporate training position, traveling all around the country. Gee, let's have you just go into real estate and you can have your own schedule and all that good stuff. Well, I did have my baby daughter, Reagan, who's now almost 24. So I'm a legacy agent. I've been around the block for a long time, seen a lot of different markets. And my husband, he was a very, very successful business person at Cisco. And he was like, you know what? And we're making all this money. Stocks are going crazy. We need to create a business for a loss. Okay. And if anybody knows me, you put a challenge together and it's like real estate and a business loss and Cheryl Lynch's personality, this is not going to work for me. So I actually took it on as a challenge not to make this business a loss my first year. My first year, I actually made 3 times as much as I did the year before as a corporate training person at a large corporation. So I'm like, sorry, husband, I'm making this a success. And I found that I had a passion to be a facilitator of information to people, and they can make their own decisions. And so what was really nice, I did be able to create my own schedule, having a newborn, when, she was asleep, I was on the phone making phone calls. So I was really good about time management. And that was one thing I learned early on, that this business really takes time management skills. And so, I was able to literally, if my husband was traveling, I would take my daughter with me to open houses. She was in one of those little carriers. She was a good baby. Thank the good Lord for that. And she would go to open houses with me. And to this day, my clients that I still have watched my daughter grow up, which is really crazy. So, so that's how I got into it. It was kind of one of those things of personal need and misunderstanding about the market, thinking that, essentially my time would be my own, which kind of was, but kind of wasn't. Fast forward to today. Being in the business for 24 years, I've built an amazing legacy behind me. I've helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homeowners with their American dream. It sounds really apple pie-ish, but it's true. Not only that, but helping agents become masterful in this industry by having a team. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell.
You know what? It's a great story. And you used one of my favorite words, and that's mastery or masterful. Like, how do you get to that mastery level thing, and who's going to help you get to that place? So thank you for being so transparent and just sharing a little bit about that. So you're top producer and you're just killing it, and your poor husband has to find another way for tax shelter. and which is a good problem. It's a good problem to
That's a
have, let me
great
tell you.
problem to have. Yeah.
And so the daughter starts, grows up a little bit. Help me, walk me through like when you really decided to make that transition into leadership out of doing just transactions and putting your toe in that leadership
Mhm.
pond. Like what was going through your mind?
Wow. Okay. So from my past history, my previous life, a training director, I had been in large corporations and I knew that I couldn't be all things to all people. So within my first year, I got my assistant and that scared the crap out of me because not only am I putting food on my table, now I'm responsible to put food on somebody else's table. And that fear really motivated me to be successful.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I went, okay, I've got a lot going on my plate, right? Being, a new mom, a new business owner, being an entrepreneur, trying to figure out marketing, trying to be a buyer's agent, a listing agent, and learning all that. At the end of my first year, I brought on my first agent. And it was because I wanted to leverage myself. I wanted to duplicate myself. And then I went, this is really kind of awesome. And with some guidance, with some very good business coaches out there that I was listening and plugging into, I went, I want to make my business, it sounds really weird, so just bear with me. I want to make my business like the McDonald's franchise. Like you can get the same hamburger here in Dana Point, California, as you can in Mexico, in Russia. I'm sure there's a little bit of nuance, personality style based on location, but I'm like, I can duplicate myself. I can duplicate my processes. I have standard operating procedures. I give the manual over and they can do exactly what I'm doing. And I'm like, this works. So being able to bring in teams and members to help me get where I want to be in the world was what I was focused on. So that's how I started growing in leverage.
I think that's a very, very solid piece of advice. And because I can only draw from my own personal experience, and that is it took me, like I stumbled and fumbled in my first 3 years, like a lot of agents do. I became consistently more productive in year 3, 4, and 5, but I was still highly siloed. I wasn't even using a transaction coordinator. And I was so afraid of letting go of anything. And my first real coach came alongside of me and said, Don, you're not running a business, you're running a personality. And I was young, I was in my 20s, so I was offended, right? Like, well, you don't know who I am. I'm somebody better than you. And so then Eric helped me, took the next step, and he said, look, here's what I mean. Real businesses are run off process and system and method and all the things that most realtors like me at the time were trying to avoid. I don't want to get sucked into corporate type environment. Was coming out of the Marine Corps, highly regimented, and I had so much freedom, and a lot of discipline, but I didn't have disciplined business practices early in my career. So thank you so much for sharing that, Cheryl, because I guarantee in this audience, there are hundreds, if not thousands of agents who should benefit from that. If you can structure a team or is the faster you can do that, it forces you to create system, process, and
Absolutely.
method. Man, I'm telling you what, if you don't give me any other jewels of wisdom today, that's the one I'm taking home.
Okay, can I give you another like lesson early in my
Okay,
career?
I think I've got room for about 3 more.
Okay, great. Good. Okay, so when I became a real estate agent, okay, I worked in a corporate setting. Okay, I did a lot of travel myself. I didn't have a sphere of influence. I had my family and I also had my neighbors. That was about it, and a couple close friends. So we're talking probably 30 people in my database.
Right.
And I'm like, oh boy, I have a problem. I've got energy, I've got the excitement, I've got the enthusiasm, I've got the business acumen behind me, but I don't have a database. So I started seeking out people that I wanted to model after. I wanted to find out who were the successful people out there and how did they start, and I started interviewing them. And one such person I interviewed, and he told me, he goes, Cheryl, I did open houses every single weekend. He goes, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever the day of the week, I was doing open houses. So I made a commitment to myself to build my database because I was very personable. Again, I'm a facilitator of information, not a salesperson. And so I did open houses based on how my husband's travel schedule was. He'd be gone Monday through Thursday. Guess what? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday religiously. I did open houses for the first 3 months. I built my database from about 30 people to over 300 just by doing open houses. And if you walked into my open house, you are my client. Done. Confidence. Over. And I built a beautiful business based on open houses. That's really how I got my big launch and how I was able to build a team and have systems and processes put in place. That was it. Open houses.
I know, but the simplest ideas are most often the best idea. And I think all too often, particularly in this age of technology, I think agents in general kind of just buy into this. I'm somehow going to pay for a lead generation service, and that's going to be my business. And I coach a lot of people. I know you do too. And that the first thing I do is I drill back down into, hey, do you have 4 or 5 like bulletproof ways of generating leads that are not dependent on stroke and check to a lead generator? Like maybe you can stroke a check to marketing campaign, but not to a third party lead generator. Thank you for thank you for sharing that, because again, there's a lot of people that need to hear that. Cheryl, one of the things that I believe, and I don't know if you do or not, but it seems like in this industry, we're so incredibly compartmentalized and we're all broken up because of these different brands. We're definitely broken up by geography. You don't necessarily want to make good friends with an agent that's in your marketplace. Like there's a lot of, there's just a lot of, it can be a very lonely deal, right? You can be highly compartmentalized and it can be a very lonely deal. So, what I love to hear you say is, hey, you know what? The basics work, and not just that, but it's hard work, right? Like the illusion is that somehow everyone is so outrageously more successful than I am. And it's all for, it's like smoke and mirrors, right? Because when you peel it back down and you really look at their production numbers, you're like, oh, this person's struggling, right? But so the hard work, I tell you, do open houses. I think that's the gospel according to Cheryl. The good news of Cheryl.
Yeah, it is. Well, here's the crazy thing, right, Don? So you do your open house. First of all, it's not, I'm going to do an open house tomorrow. It's a planned event.
Yes.
And that's what most agents fail to do, is make it an event. So you circle prospect around that house, inviting the neighbors in, saying, hey, I'm here. You put out at least 12 open house signs. Those are your billboards.
Right.
As many as you can put in, go for it.
Yeah.
And then, if you get on the phone with people, you door knock, you let people know, hey, I'm doing an open house here. Even if it's not your own personal listing,
right.
Find somebody in the office, get their permission, say, hey, I want to help you sell this house. And, I know in the last couple of years, you could fog and mirror, put a sign in the yard and get 27 offers. And, open houses were not a thing, especially during COVID. But now as the market starts to shift a little bit, interest rates are going to start coming down. We're going to get more into that normal market. This is a great opportunity. Somebody's walking into your open house for a reason. I mean, what better way than having 10 people come in and you can talk to them that you don't have to, go out and actively seek. They're there. They're raising their hand. They're there for a reason. You just need to figure out the why. That's it. That's the secret to the open house.
I think so. I think you're right. It's a target rich opportunity. If you look at statistics, 12% of people walking into an open house are going to buy somewhere in 12 months. And when I pushed hard in open house at the beginning of my career. And the reason I did it is because I didn't know how to penetrate a neighborhood. I didn't know there were a lot of protected. When I started, farms were actually protected. Even though,
Mhm.
later that become a federal trade commission,
Yeah.
taboo thing. But when I got in, I couldn't hardly do anything in the large office that I was working in because the top 10% of the office had the entire city um, sewed
Mhm.
up. So if I wasn't begging for an open house from that person, I wasn't going to get in that market. But for me, I tell you,
Yeah.
I didn't really ever plan on necessarily selling the house I was sitting on. For me, it was an opportunity to door knock. I'd
True.
always have my open house on Sunday, and I'd always door knock on the Friday, and I'd hit 150
Mhm.
houses around my that open house every weekend,
Mhm.
every weekend, every weekend. And similar story, just like you, my database got up to 700, 750, like within a quarter.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's one of the magic bullets. And again, it's all about preparation and planning. And how do you leverage that house, that open house? How do you leverage it to get more buyers and sellers?
yep.
Our whole thing is one listing gets another listing, and you get two buyer transactions from it.
Okay, let's switch gears for a little
All
bit.
right.
Let's do something like,
Yes.
tell me the funniest damn thing that's ever, what's the funniest, craziest thing that's ever happened to you in this business? Like crazy, I don't care.
Wow.
Crazy, funny. You probably have so many stories you can't even really pinpoint one. Like, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you in this business?
Okay. Am I blushing right now?
It's okay. Mine's
Wow.
worse. I guarantee that mine's worse. Guarantee it.
Mine is bad. So I was very young in my career, and there was an empty house I was going to go preview,
Right.
because back then I previewed always for my buyers. And the owner's like, yeah, go ahead and show, no problem. I'm like, okay, this is really bad. So I go to this house in this very prestigious guard gated neighborhood, right? In this beautiful house. And I'm excited. I'm young. I'm like, woohoo, I'm gonna go preview this house for my client. And I go to the lockbox, and again, it's vacant. And I open the door, and there was a film production crew. They were filming a porn video.
Oh my God, that absolutely tops my story. Like I think we've all walked in on people in the shower and
Yes.
maybe in,
Or
doing the wild
asleep or
thing.
whatever, but no, there was an active.
Realtor, knock, 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 realtor. And
Yeah.
oh, well, there's someone in the bedroom. That's not cool. But oh my God.
No, the bedroom was in the living room, and there was a full production crew around this bed in this
Oh my
living
gosh.
room. And, I startled them, they startled me, and I'm like, okay, I have to be cool,
Yeah,
right? And I'm acting like this is an everyday occurrence,
sure.
right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, I really need to see this house for my client and preview it. I actually previewed the house, and I got out of there. And they're like, okay, everyone take a break. Agent's here. And I'm like, how many other agents have seen this? So that was the most embarrassing, interesting, and funny thing that I've ever had to deal with.
You know what?
Yes.
Thanks for sharing that because I'm telling you, there are so many agents I ask that question and they're like, "Oh my God, you're never going to guess what happened." I'm like, "Oh, you walked in on someone having sex, right?" They're like, "Yeah. How'd you know?" I'm like, "Because it unfortunately
Everybody
happened."
has.
It's like, "Welcome to the
Yeah.
club," right? Because
Right. Right.
after 30 years, you've literally seen it all, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. I've been in haunted houses. I've been in the craziest houses over my career.
Okay, that's going
So
to be a book. I'm telling you right now.
yeah.
You need to write that
Yeah.
book.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So I know that we've all had our ups and downs in this business. And so, have you ever thought about quitting, number one? And how the heck did you get past that thinking, or how do you advise someone else to try to get past that hump in the road?
All right. I'm gonna get super real and super transparent with you. So I lost my husband a year and a half ago.
Mm,
All right, in
sorry.
a tragic auto accident. All right. And when you mentally are crushed to the core and to the soul being, thank God I had my team. Okay. I have to give props and love to them. And this business is very emotional, or it can be, right? And if you really want to do the right thing for your clients, you're going to invest yourself in your clients, right? And that takes part of your energy.
Yeah.
So literally 3 months after my husband had passed, I had a client that I had been nurturing and working with for 7 years. Okay, 7 years. I have long-term relationships, can you tell? And I finally like said, okay, I got my crap together now. I'm going to go back into like, my greed. I'm going to go back into like being my true self as a real estate agent. And so I called this client up saying, hey, I know your timing is, about now. I've just gone through this life event. I'm ready to be here for you as your agent. And she tells me this is crushing. Oh, Cheryl, a competitor of mine told me you're never coming back into this business and we listed with them. I went,
Oh,
you freaking kidding me. Okay. A,
wow.
I'm an emotional state anyway.
Right.
B, this is somebody I've known for 7 years. And C, how could a competitor that knows me very well, that doesn't
Yeah.
even know my story or where I'm
Right.
at mentally, has the right to say that to a client? And that's when I went, do I really need to be into this business? Do I need this? Do I want to do this? You see, sometimes you get hypersensitive, and I was
Sure.
very hypersensitive at that point. And I'm like, I really don't need this crap. I mean, that's where I was.
No, I
And
got it.
so I'm like, you know what? Let me just take a pause, right? Let me just take a pause. And let me just think about this. And really what's important to me. What do I know and love in my heart? And that's helping people. So I had to like unpack the situation and consider the other person. I know that other person was extremely desperate for business.
Sure.
Okay. That whole situation was not about me at all.
Right.
And I didn't take it on as an issue with me. I took it on with the greed of somebody else. And it took me about a week to kind of went, okay, what am I going to do with this? And having these conversations with yourself, because, that's where I'm like, you know what, you're a badass, you're a phoenix from the ashes, so a lot of it was a lot of affirmations back to myself and putting good stuff in my brain to go, you know what? So this is one transaction. It's a blip on the radar screen. You don't want to work with that person anyway. And come to find out a year later, their house was still on the market. So I dodged a bullet. Okay. Long story short on that one. But it comes to, what is the story you're telling yourself? And the story I was telling myself at that point, like, I want to, I don't need to deal with this. This is BS. Everybody's like this, it was turned around to, it's not about me. I'm the
Right.
best person for the job. If they don't want my services and my skill set, well, c'est la vie. I've got hundreds of other people that love and adore me and want me for my business, my team, and what I can do for them and how I can help them from my heart. And I just focused on that. And that's what turned it around for me. It took me about a week, I'll be honest with you. Of
Well, I think a week is like a week in my world. It would be record time. I mean, just such a powerful testimony. And here's what I'm taking away from it. Here's how you go forward. You change the narrative, change the
Mhm.
narrative, change the narrative. I get it, man. Sometimes it just feels like you're weak and you're going to get pushed over, but that's a lie
Mhm.
from hell. It's a lie from
Yeah,
hell.
yeah.
And it's not about, in my opinion, it's not about, oh, rah, rah, rah. I'm going to create this
Mhm.
self-actualization chant.
No,
But,
no.
but self-talk is
Mhm.
really a powerful, powerful way that we program ourselves. And I think most
Mhm.
agents don't realize they participate in self-talk all day long,
Mhm.
and it's not
So,
planned. They just stumble
yeah,
into it and it's
yeah,
negative. They're not
yeah.
intentional about it.
So I have Post-it notes on my computer,
Nice.
okay? These here. And I'm gonna read these because these are fabulous. My purpose is to pour into people. I
Nice.
have my purpose every day right in front of me. I use my mess for a message for my mission. That's another one.
Good
The
one.
other one is, This is awesome. Okay. Don't let your personal problems outweigh your professional progress. Ooh,
Another good one.
these are
Incredible.
Cherylisms. These need to go
You
in
know
the book,
what?
right?
Heroism, I think that's probably a chapter in your book.
There you go. There you go. Awesome.
So
So
I
to
know you've
answer
already
the question in
shared.
a nutshell, that's how I do it.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, I think that's a model that should be replicated over and over and over again. And I think any realtor within the sound of our voice who doesn't really get the power of that needs to connect with one of us, I tell you. Um,
Mhm.
so look, you have accomplished a lot, right? A lot. And it's very like anyone would be more than happy to have a career that looks exactly like yours. But let me ask you, what's the future hold? What's the stuff that Cheryl hasn't done yet that she really, 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 really wants to do in the future?
Ah, fabulous question. Well, first of all, I'm growing my team
Okay.
and I'm helping more. I want to help more and grow my team.
Okay.
And I know where we're going to go business wise, and that will happen. So, give me 5 years and I've got 50 agents underneath me. You
Hmm.
know, from there, this year I am writing a book about the fundamentals of real estate for the
Nice.
first year real estate agent, because my passion comes to, somebody's just getting into the business, take off the rose colored glasses, let's get into reality and make it
Yep.
happen. Because there's
Amen.
a formula to that. So the book is being written,
Okay, good.
uh, which I'm very excited about. I am going to be putting together my own coaching company eventually. Not right
Nice.
now. We're talking 3 years in the future.
Sure.
When the business and the team is where I want it to be, then I'll be able to step away and impart more of my knowledge onto the world.
Nice.
So, yeah. So whether that be right or wrong, that's kind of where I'm being led. So that's what the future holds for me.
Look, I think the value of real equity in a life well spent is how are you taking your time and your talent and your treasures and like how
Mhm.
are you giving? How are you giving that back? How are you paying it forward?
Mhm.
And like I said, I think it's the measure of a life of a profession well
Mhm.
crafted where you're not walking in fear of loss, you're not walking in a spirit of lack, you're not worried about someone on my team's going to steal my leads or someone's going to, or
That's small
like
minded.
or what like whatever it is. And
Mhm.
man, that's really really exciting. I can hopefully if I get really really lucky, maybe I'll get an autographed copy of that book when it comes out. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Mm.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'll pay
Yeah.
for it.
You know what? It's going to be a great book. It's going to be
Good.
all about the human side of the business because, everybody can tell you how to write a contract, how to door knock,
Right.
how to do the mechanics of it, but
Yeah,
they
yeah.
never talk about the human side of the business and really how to read your audience
Yes.
and what are the words to say and what is your client's chemistry with your chemistry. Nobody talks about that. That's the secret to sales.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about putting it together. It's a big daunting task, but I'm excited to do that. And it'll be my pleasure to present it to the world when it's done.
Yeah, I just hope and pray that you get plenty of energy and enthusiasm to do it because what you just basically said there was like, hey, like salesperson's a compound word, right? It's like I can teach you how to sell, but I can't teach you how to be a person. Let's explore your personhood. Let's get real. Let's have
Yeah.
honesty. And earlier in this conversation, you said take off the rose-colored glasses, right? Let's just get to it. Let's understand what really has to be done. And then,
Mhm.
why are you not doing it? Like, why? Like you're making a willful choice to not do
Mhm.
the things you're supposed to be doing. So very cool.
Mhm.
Cheryl, we're kind of
Yeah.
winding down a little bit. Is there anything else that you'd want to share with the folks watching us today?
Oh gosh, real estate is so rewarding. Okay. It can be an island out there if you choose it to be. But this is a people business. We're not sell, we can sell bricks and sticks all day long, right? It's just a bigger house, smaller house, more zeros, less zeros.
Right.
But the human relationship and the human connection and coming from an area of servitude, as opposed to an area from your pocketbook will make huge differences in how you're perceived in the market and the lives that you're able to change. And nobody talks about that. I feel like, I'm kind of a preacher here. We talked about
Good.
that earlier.
Yeah.
But truly having the heart to help people is at the crux of success in this business. And that's the
Yeah.
only thing I want to leave with the audience is work from your heart, not your pocketbook. You will change lives, move mountains, create legacies far beyond your years that you're in the business. So that's all I have to say.
Incredibly sage, very, very sage advice. You can still be mindful of other people and respect people, and you can still be outrageously financially successful.
Mhm.
I know too many people who are walking that out. They're compassionate. They have a heart of service, a servant heart, and they're wealthy, and it's because of real estate. And
Mhm.
so thank you so much for sharing that. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, Cheryl, are you pretty available? Would it be okay if I dropped
Absolutely.
your website on the bottom of this
Yeah.
video?
Yeah, absolutely. Our website is thelynchgroupoc.com. My email address, people can email me all day long, Cheryl@thelynchgroupoc.com. And, you can always text me. I never really answer my phone anymore. I'm more the texter kind of girl, but my phone number 949-842-5340. And any questions, I'm here to help.
Cheryl, thank you so much for hanging out today in the Agent Studio. It's just been a pleasure being able to chat with you for a little bit. And that's a wrap. We hope that you found this interview encouraging. And just a reminder, this interview, along with several others, is archived in the Agent Smarty Pants website. It's available to subscribers on demand. I'm Don Stanek. Now get out there and make it a fantastic day.